From Wolfsburg to RB Leipzig, Germany has become a second home to numerous US men's national team players over the years. Stars like Christian Pulisic and McKennie used to play football in the Bundesliga too, for BVB and Schalke respectively. Some of these guys, like John Brooks, were actually born in Germany but chose to represent the US, while others were born stateside. But whether they're US or German born, what makes Germany an attractive place to play football for these Americans? Is it the football culture? Or is it something more personal to the players? Let's try to answer the question of why playing football in Germany is so appealing to American players, first by briefly digging into the history of American footballers in Germany, reviewing a few American players currently in Germany, and exploring the future of this trend. So, why are so many Americans joining German youth academies and eventually playing in the Bundesliga? Well, as my intro implies, there are several factors, from the fact that American players are cheap to import and the legacy of World War II. As Tom Hamilton and Stephen Uresfield wrote for ESPN.com, you have the ease of work permits, the American mentality, the growing talent pool, the Jurgen Klinsmann effect of the early 2010s, legacies of the US Army presence during the Cold War, the lack of transfer fees, the appeal of the US market from a brand advancement point of view, and, of course, the Christian Pulisic factor. Indeed, Klinsmann's coaching of Germany from 2004 to 2006, then the US men's national team from 2011 to 2015, introduced the possibility of playing in Germany to many young American players. He recruited several Deutsch-Amerikaners in the Bundesliga, like John Brooks, Jermaine Jones, Fabian Johnson, and Timothy Chandler, all of whom had fathers in the military stationed in Germany. But more recently, watching Pulisic thrill in the Bundesliga inspired many boys stateside. Pulisic moved to Germany at 15 with his Croatian passport, sidestepping the rule that non-EU players under 18 cannot play in the EU. He became a gem of a player that eventually commanded a £58 million transfer from Dortmund to Chelsea by 20 years old, and sparked other teams in Germany to explore American talent. Weston McKennie also popularized the concept of American talent moving to Germany. He stood out as a solid footballer at Schalke at a time the club was failing. Then, he moved to Juventus after being there on loan. It's pretty rare to see an American player as a linchpin to a Serie A team. So, of course, that made him stand out, and he recently joined a club I call Little America, Leeds United, where fellow Americans Tyler Adams and Brenden Aaronson play. Of course, Tyler Adams also showed young American players their talent is valuable in Germany, as he helped RB Leipzig secure their first title, the DFB Pokal, during the 2021-2022 season. Additionally, these Americans at Leeds United take direction under American coach Jesse Marsch, who used to coach German side RB Leipzig. These players have sparked the formation of an America to Germany talent pipeline, with MLS and Bundesliga teams partnering up to develop talent. Bayern Munich has paired with FC Dallas and Hoffenheim with FC Cincinnati to cultivate American talent that might one day make the move to Germany. German coaches and players alike feel the mentality among several young American footballers, determination combined with high athleticism, is a great match and good foundation for German tactics and styles of play like gegenpressing, which requires a lot of stamina. Plus, Americans are cheap for German academies, as American players rarely command transfer fees. This is because historically, MLS clubs did not follow FIFA's regulations on the status of and transfer of players, or RSTP, which would normally have academies benefit financially from the sale of players they've trained. As Tom Hamilton and Stephen Uresfield wrote, for the wealthier German clubs, the risk is low. Sign a promising player, develop them, and you might end up with a superstar. Reyna, Pulisic, Sargent, and McKennie were all signed on free transfers. If not, there'll be plenty of teams back in the US who will be willing to sign the player back. Let's do a rundown of some of the US men's national team stars currently playing in Germany. I'll be including the country each player was eligible to play for before they ultimately chose the US of A. Reyna was born in England when his father, former pro footballer Claudio Reyna, was playing for Sunderland. Naturally, this had a strong direct influence on Gio's decision to pursue professional football. When he was 5, the Reyna family returned to the US and Gio played youth football with New York City FC until 2019 when he moved to Dortmund. Soon after he began youth football at BVB, he dazzled in Dortmund's midfield and was dubbed a wonder kid. However, he's been plagued with injuries over the years. During the 2021-2022 season, he missed a total of 243 days and 34 games in total. Subsequently, during the 2022 World Cup, as you probably already know, he didn't see a lot of playing time, and yeah, that sparked a bit of a media circus between his parents and former US men's national team coach Greg Berhalter. But Reyna seems to have since dusted off the residue of this controversy and has become an amazing off-the-bench asset to BVB coach Edin Terzic, as he has scored 5 goals so far in 2023. Similar to Reyna, Joe Scally spent most of his time as a youth footballer at New York City FC before being traded to Gladbach in 2021. Scally scored his first Bundesliga goal in October of that year against Wolfsburg. He also provided 2 assists during the 2021-2022 season, which is a great stat for a fullback. Despite making his debut for the US men's national team on the 1st of June 2020 in a friendly match against Morocco, Scally interestingly didn't participate in the World Cup tournament despite being called up for it. Nevertheless, he has continued to prove his skills in the Bundesliga. Over time, Scally has become a consistent starter for Gladbach with 18 appearances during the 2022-2023 season. The young American can be seen as an asset for the side who will continue to act as a key player for some time, unless, of course, he decides to move to another club such as Leeds United. A Deutsche Amerikaner, Tillman has historically played mostly for the Bayern amateur team in the Regionalliga Bayern, the regional 4th tier of German football, where during the 2021-2022 season he scored 4 goals and gave 4 assists. Parallel to his time as a youth player for the Rekordmeister, Tillman played for the US as an under-15, but switched to Germany from his under-16 to under-21 years. He then changed his allegiance back to the US in 2022 with his eye on World Cup football. Tillman told USA Today, "I would say that I have a chance of playing in a World Cup this year. In Germany, I think I wouldn't be with the team for likely the next 2 years." Like Scally, Tillman debuted against Morocco. However, his switch in allegiance did not result in a ticket to the World Cup. As of today, Tillman has taken a break from Germany as he plays for the Rangers on loan. And seeing how prolific Tillman has been for the Rangers, Berhalter might have missed the chance for more firepower at the World Cup. So far, during the 2022-2023 season, Tillman has scored 7 goals and provided 4 assists in the Scottish Premier League. It remains to be seen whether he'll return to Bayern or potentially be sold permanently to the Rangers. Jordan has an interesting background as he was born in the US to Cameroonian parents but raised in France. After spending his youth years playing football in France, Jordan's big break came after he moved to Switzerland as a senior player in 2021 to play for the prominent Young Boys. He had an incredible 2020-2021 season as the top scorer in the Swiss Super League with the Young Boys, with 27 goals and 5 assists in all competition. After just 1 season in Switzerland, he joined Union Berlin during the summer trade window as what can be assumed as a slot-in for Taiwo Awoniyi, who, of course, moved to Nottingham Forest. Jordan should have been a shoo-in for the US men's national team for the World Cup as he's so prolific. However, Berhalter interestingly left him out of the squad, again, squandering some of the US men's national team's firepower. During the current 2022-2023 season, in 20 games, Jordan has scored 4 goals and provided 3 assists. Hopefully, he'll get to show off his firepower again with the US men's national team soon. During the 2021-2022 season, Paredes became the 4th transfer from DC United to a European club. He made his Bundesliga debut in April of 2022 against Bielefeld. While Paredes caught the eye of Wolfsburg, though, he has yet to be noticed by the US men's national team as he's never been called up at the senior level, so he was not a participant at the World Cup. As for his club football escapades, he's made 10 appearances so far during the 2022-2023 season, with the majority of his appearances, 9 of them, where he came off the bench. He has, however, managed to score a goal and provide an assist. While his time at Wolfsburg has been rather uneventful, Paredes is still young and thus has time to solidify himself as a defensive force. Current American players starring on German club rosters aside, this tradition of Americans in Germany is multi-generational. Even the US men's national team coach Greg Berhalter, or actually former US men's national team coach, spent time playing in Germany for a total of 7 years at Energie Cottbus and 1860 Munich. He was the team captain for the Löwen at that. After 196 competitive appearances for Cottbus and 1860, he scored 17 goals. As published by Bundesliga.com before the 2022 World Cup, there is no doubt that the 45-year-old was heavily influenced by his time in Germany, which should come in handy when he calls on Bundesliga-based American stars like Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Zach Stefan, and Josh Sargent. Of course, that didn't really work out. So, what does the future hold for American players transferring to German clubs? Well, MLS clubs since April 2019 are to follow the regulations on the status and transfer of players, or RSTP, which might make young American footballers more pricey in the future as American academies will now be compensated for training costs when a player receives their first pro contract abroad. The foreign team, or in this case, likely the Bundesliga team, would have to pay the player's academy as well as transfer costs. Bundesliga teams make strong investments in young talent, with major teams not blinking twice before starting 18, 17, and even 16-year-olds with their senior teams, as long as they've got the talent. There are hardly any hoops to jump through for an American player to cultivate his skill and get the playing time on the big stage in Germany. As Jurgen Klinsmann told ESPN.com, the coaches are usually very straightforward. If the kid understands that it's all down to performance and they'll get the chance, the Bundesliga is the place to be. So, it's very likely that costs aside, the Bundesliga will continue to invest in the MLS. So, who's your favorite US men's national team player playing in the Bundesliga? And are there any other players that you feel missed out on a chance to go to the World Cup and shine? Personally, I'm super bummed that players like Jordan, Malik Tillman, and Joe Scally didn't feature at the World Cup. I'm not entirely sure if the US men's national team would make it as far as the quarterfinals, but you never know. Berhalter might have had a more effective team if he capped certain players, particularly those who are currently playing in the Bundesliga. Oh well. I'm sure we'll see an even more impressive US men's national team by the 2026 World Cup, with a coach that isn't Berhalter. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and follow me on other platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'll see you there, and I'll see you here next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.